Echoes of Betrayal is an original story written by W.A. Blincoe, narrated by W.A. Blincoe. Images AI generated for illustrative purposes only. Chapter 40. Argos watched as the ship carrying Hadley, Roberts and von Sanders slipped off the radar. He began calculating his next move. Auchinleck was on his way. Of that, Argos was certain. But until the ascension process was complete, he still held command of the Royalists. The protocols had been established long ago, and he intended to follow them to the letter. He glanced around the bridge and noticed the crew moving with quiet hesitation. Low murmurs blended with the steady, deep hum of hard drives processing streams of data. Every system was being monitored, every protocol checked, confirmed, and matched against strict procedure. Then, the long-range scanner began to shimmer. Something was actively trying to block it. One by one, warning lights flared into life, burning brighter by the second. "Attention, all crew," Argos said, leaning close to the comms link, his voice calm but firm. "The enemy are approaching. We will not win this fight, but we do not have to." Silence washed over the entire ship. Every eye turned instinctively towards the sound of his voice. "Remember what matters. We hold the star, the symbol and hope of everything we fight for. Our task now is simple. Give Auchinleck a bloody nose. Buy time and regroup so the mission can succeed." Argos's muscles tensed. He pushed his shoulders back and rolled his sleeves up, continuing with a growing resolve. "We have a plan. You all know what must be done. For the monarchy." A rhythmic chant began to rise, pulsing from deck to deck, growing louder with every repetition. "Monarchy, monarchy, monarchy." A sharp klaxon drowned out the voices. Argos looked up to see the stars themselves beginning to ripple. Drawing on every moment of his experience, his mind raced through countless strategies and outcomes. The rippling effect grew stronger. Any minute now, Auchinleck would arrive. The surrounding stars contracted sharply, then scattered in every direction. At the centre of the disturbance, space itself began to warp. Matter and dark matter collided, initiating into brilliant white plasma that burned with blinding intensity. Argos gave the order. Instantly his fleet shifted into defensive formations. Cannons powered up, and hundreds of fingers hovered over triggers. Every crew member ready to unleash their ammunition the moment the command was given. The plasma flared one last blinding time, then vanished completely. A heartbeat later, the radar screamed, "Contact! Multiple vessels emerging from the void." Argos sent a coded signal. In an instant, half his fleet disappeared into hyperspace, masking Hadley's departure. He knew if Auchinleck detected a single drive signature, he could trace the path back to Hadley. This was the only way to hide her trail. Argos lifted one finger. The remaining ships held their position, waiting to strike the second he gave the word. At the last enemy vessel dropped out of hyperspace, he issued the command. "Fire!" The largest Cerberus ship hung back from the fighting. Argos watched as it moved to an observational position, shielded by two heavy carriers and a battleship. He issued fresh orders, and his fleet responded instinctively, sending the first wave of fighters surging forward. One by one, ships were engulfed in fireballs as the battle erupted in full force. "Break their lines and target the command ship," Argos called out. "Let Auchinleck know he's in for a fight." "Affirmative, Captain," came the crisp reply. The deck lurched violently as enemy fire struck home. "Damage report," Argos barked. "Shield still holding. We're just out of reach of the kinetic weapons, for now. Hold position and keep firing. Clear me a path straight to Auchinleck's flagship." Auchinleck sat back in his commander's chair, watching his forces slowly gain the upper hand. Cyclops relayed the latest tactical readings and configurations, confirming what Auchinleck had already suspected. The Royalists had not completed the ascension. It seemed Argos was leading only a fraction of their total strength. Cyclops noted the commander's calm, almost detached expression. The fight was going their way, yet Auchinleck didn't appear the least bit concerned. "Bring me Argos alive," Auchinleck ordered quietly. "I have no doubt this entire engagement is nothing more than a deception." "I will formulate a plan to do exactly that, sir," Cyclops replied instantly, already analysing the data streams across his console. He scanned every exhaust trail and drive signature, searching desperately for any trace of where the rest of the fleet, and more importantly, Hadley, might have gone. But there were too many signals, too many jump points, and no clear way to tell which one was hers. Cyclops passed the order through to the fleet. The Cerberus ships adjusted their tactics, tightening their formation and sending a fresh wave of fighters towards the Royalists' lines. Argos watched helplessly as his fighters were slowly overwhelmed by superior numbers. He knew the time had come. The distraction had worked, the confusion was sown. He had bought Hadley the breathing space she needed. Now it was up to her. He guided each ship safely away, making absolutely certain no one was left behind. As his own vessel's hyperdrive began to spin up, ready for the jump, the lights suddenly cut out. The bridge was plunged into total darkness. Sharp cracks echoed as sparks popped and fizzed from the control panels. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Cerberus command ship," a voice called out through the gloom. Argos glanced at the tactical display. All around them, the Cerberus forces were suddenly pulling back into defensive formations, their weapons going silent, their fighters holding their fire. "Open the channel," Argos said steadily. "Let's hear what he has to say."